Namaste. I'm Shalini Modi, an author with interest in our ancient Indian scriptures, which have numerous stories of bhaktas and importance laid on Nam Jap or taking the Lord's name. One such story is about Ajamala, who was a Brahmin boy born in the city of present-day Kannauj. He grew up learning the Vedas and the scriptures, and as a young man, he practiced yagyas, nam jap, sacrificial fire, and he was gentle, kind towards strangers and his elders. He had all the desirous qualities of a good individual. One day he went to the forest to fetch flowers, fruits, wood for the sacrificial fire, as well as kusha grass, a sacred grass for his father. On his return, he saw this reckless man, indulgent and drunk on alcohol, sporting a young woman who was half naked and herself was intoxicated. He was filled with passion on seeing them wrapped in each other's arms. Lust got the better of him, and no matter how hard he tried to calm his mind, he could not get out of his mind this act or this show of love and intimacy. Despite of having so many positives in his life, like his father's wealth, his virtuous wife who was still in her youth, and his Brahmin birth, he gave up everything for this woman he had seen in the woods and started living with her. He spent all his father's money on her and finally started using unjust and reproachable means of earning money. He would steal, carry out robberies, and he even started killing living beings to feed his family their meat if food was not available. He had 10 boys from this lady. The youngest was named Narayan. His life was questionable, and so the society decided to abandon him or distance him from the society. One day, when he was 88 years old, Yamadutas approached him as the time had come for his death. These were 3 Yamadutas, big looking, scary looking men with wry faces, hair standing on the head, and noose in the hand. Seeing them, Ajamala was agitated, and he cried out to his youngest and most favorite son, with whom he had deep attachment. He carried out and called out his name, Narayan, Narayan, with great urgency. Hearing a dying man carry out or shout out Narayan's name, which is also Lord Vishnu's name, his messengers came running for him, and they stopped the Yamadutas who were tearing apart his soul from his body. When asked for an introduction, they gave them their introduction, explaining how they were the Dutas or messengers of Lord Narayan. Then, to explain the Yamadutas why they had come, they asked them, "Tell us, how or who would you term virtuous?" The Yamadutas said, "We have heard that someone who follows or carries out his life according to the Vedas is a virtuous person. Lord Narayan himself is the Vedas, as they came out from him, emanated from him, from his nostrils, while as a process of respiration, which was done on his part without any conscious effort." The messengers of Narayan then explained that this man had taken the 4-syllable name of Bhagwan called Narayan, and therefore all his sins had been mitigated. And this specially held truth at the time of death, because he had taken the word Narayan or called out Narayan's name exactly at the time of his death, when no other sin could have happened or carried out. Therefore, he was free from sins not only of this life but of many, many lives before, and now did not deserve to be taken from the path of sinners, In fact, he had earned Bhagwan's grace. The Yamadutas were convinced by this argument and released the soul from their nose and went away to their boss Yama to narrate the whole story. Once free from their nose, Ajamal was normal, he was rid of fear, and he bent down to pay respect to Narayan's messengers. Narayan's messengers went away immediately, but the conversation that they had had with the Yamadutas stayed back in Ajamal's mind. He realized his folly of giving up his virtuous life for a life soaked in sensory gratification. He instantly left for Gangadhar, which is presently known as Haridwar, and choosing a spot, turned his senses inwards and focused his mind on Bhagwan Narayan. He was completely absorbed by the thought of Narayan, the name of Narayan. And that's when the messengers came again. And this time they had come to take him to Vaikunt, the abode of Sri Hari, Vishnu, Narayan, whatever you may call him, the spouse of Shri, the goddess of prosperity and well-being. Namaste.